So what happens if you've got your systems online, your book, your course, whatever it is, and it's something where students have to book a call with you to discuss signing up. So maybe not a book, but a course or some coaching or some other service like that. Usually what happens is you have a premium price, and in order for someone to be able to pay for the program, they have to go through a call to make sure that you're both the right fit for each other. So what happens if the student isn't the right fit, either for you or for them? And you know what, you could even apply this to a yoga teacher who's doing group classes, privates, particularly with privates, and someone reaches out to you and says that they want to do privates with you. There's a monkey right there. There's probably another one behind me somewhere. Right, so what happens if you're a yoga teacher doing privates or some kind of coach or yogipreneur, and someone reaches out to you and you're on a call and you realize that you're not the right fit for them or they're not the right fit for you? Most yoga teachers, in the name of helping people, feel like they need to help everybody. This is a common misstep when yoga teachers start trying to teach privates or work online, both, or getting into a space, because they feel like if they don't help everyone, they're being some kind of pretentious Instagram yoga influencer who's out of touch and worried about being seen as a snob. And so often, or they'll just be like, yeah, yoga's for everyone. I can help you. And they may not be the best fit. So what do you do? Well, if you're a yoga teacher, you should be specializing in a specific area. Saying you appeal to everyone or trying to appeal to everyone doesn't work, because there's just naturally areas in your teaching and personality and practice where you are stronger than other areas, and it's best to focus on those areas when helping people. So let's say that you have a chat with a student and you come to understand that you're not the right fit for them. Now, this is going to be a little controversial, but it's true. If everything else that the student says aligns with you, but they don't align with you on price, it's going to be one of two things. Number one, you're not clear enough on your offer and your value that's being provided, that the student appreciates and agrees to that original price. Or B, the student is not the right fit for you. You know, there's going to come a time when it's one, and then there's going to come a time when there's the other. And what most yoga teachers will do is allow themselves to be devalued in order to get a client and get any money, while saying it's not all about the money, but actually needing the little bit of money that they get. That's kind of a weird way of doing business. It's not my personal choice, but it's what a lot of yoga teachers like to do, because there's root chakra issues and there's fear around money. There is discomfort around claiming your worth and being okay with it. There is avoidance that comes in the silence after you position your price. And this is when most yoga teachers will deflate, give in, significantly lower their price, and ultimately communicate to the student that both yoga and themselves as a teacher are not worth very much. It's unfortunate. It's a hard place to get out of. But unfortunately, particularly in group classes or privates to an extent, It's the way things are. And there's honestly not that much that you can communicate for value on with just privates. You need to go beyond that. It needs to be about the transformation that the private classes will offer you, the student. That's what you're selling, not private yoga, the transformation. So you need to be clear. You need to have a program that you can take people through. You need to have a package that is like distinguished from one another. I just need to check what my son is doing through the window. I heard him, but I don't see him. Oh, he's playing, he's okay. Now, if you're a yoga coach or mentor or business owner, yogipreneur, tech yogi, yogi nomad, travel yogi, you are going to have, hopefully, more premium offers, which means that someone's going to have to get on a call with you, talk about where they're at in their program, their work, see if your program's a right fit. If they're getting on the call, it should be pretty clear already, but just have that touch point, right? So for me, why do I have calls with students to sign them up? Well, number one is I don't want everyone's money. Just because someone has the money doesn't mean that they're a good fit for my program, doesn't mean that my program's a good fit for them. If they made it all the way to the call, there's an extremely good chance that it is, but I still don't want to just receive people's money at that level without knowing who it's coming from and checking with my intuition and seeing if this is something that I personally want to invest in. Because yeah, I'm getting paid, but do I want to invest my availability, my energy, my effort into that student for the next 6 to 12 months? Is this someone I want to see on my schedule, maybe like once or twice a month, plus in my group calls, plus the homework, plus in the community? You know, that's something I need to judge for myself, because I'm not the best fit for everyone. Not everyone, you know, gets my approach or my vibe or my mindset. And I'm perfectly okay with that, but I've had to cultivate that over time and learn that, look, just as much as not everyone's right for me, I'm not right for everyone either. Once you get your head around that, then you'll be much more okay charging significantly higher, because you realize just because there's yoga students doesn't mean that they're the right fit for me. Just because they want to take privates doesn't mean that we're a good match. And some monkeys watching me from up above. You know, so that also changes the dynamic when you look at basic economics. What that means is that the supply, the amount of potential yoga students who are a good fit goes down, which means that my price goes up to compensate for less people being a good fit with that. Also, the price going up is a protective measure to help me manage my time and balance out the amount of energy I need to give a student, the amount of support I need to provide, and you know, that needs to be balanced. Plus, I have a lot of skills and knowledge that I deserve to be compensated for. So I want to make sure that I'm sharing them with people who I think are going to apply them and making good use of their time with me, right? And that just comes down to like having studied and done enough work and, you know, made mistakes on past deals and stuff, that you realize, look, I got to start going for quality over quantity if I'm going to be personally involved and live. Yeah, if it's just something automated, sure, I can go for quantity, right? That's fine. I'm looking for that. But not when it comes to the deep transformation and the support and you know, the one-to-one live interactions and group interactions and stuff. It's just, yeah. So what do you do, right? Like, what do you do when you're a yogipreneur, business owner, travel yogi, tech yogi, nomad? Well, there's a couple of things. Number one, I'm all about options, right? So when you have someone book that call with you, excuse me, when you have someone book that call with you, guess what? You can decline the call, if it's someone that you know is going to not be a good fit. I have had this once. I was in a training and there was just a person that I felt was giving me a lot of resistance, and I have no problem being challenged, but when it's continuously over things that aren't the most pressing or relevant or appropriate, it comes down to more than just, do I have a different perspective on how to do a transition, or is a certain asana safe in a certain way, right? This is more than just a a difference of theory or hypothesis. Yeah. Anyways, so I was booked and I said, I could feel it, just the idea of working with this student for a long period of time in a premium space, and given the behavior I had noticed previously, where things that I had made recommendations on, the student was repeatedly like saying, yeah, well, you could also do this, or you could also do this, or it doesn't have to be that one, it could be this one. And like, people got it, but the student just kept making this point with this, and I didn't want to have this kind of energy in a space where the space is heavily dependent on my recommendations for very specific reasons, because things need to be established a certain way. Like, yeah, there are other ways you could do stuff, but the point being that part of being in this course is to follow a specific predetermined path. Is there room for variance? Yeah. But does that mean reconstructing the whole path? No, right? And so that was why I was like, I'm not even feeling this energy. I'm gonna decline the call before I even get on the call. Declined, right? Because I could just thinking about it, and you can see now my energy's all riled up. Even just thinking about it put me in a state, and I said, for me to even just get into that state, that's enough right there for me to know. I've also had another interaction where a student comes on the call and we're talking about where they're at and where they're going and what they're looking for, and they're describing their situation, and then we're taking a look and we're diving a little bit further into it, and then it becomes apparent that this student is clearly not in a space where they have the resources necessary to not only pay for my course, but to pay for the additional resources that are required during it. And that was made apparent much earlier than me getting to price. And so ultimately, before I even talked about what I was going to be doing or how I could help, I didn't talk about anything that I do. And I said, look, I think I know just the right teacher for you. And I made some recommendations for other teachers who I felt were targeting more of that kind of space that this person was in, both in terms of where they're at in their life and where they're at economically, and starting them at the appropriate level. So yeah, I've also had other situations where you're dealing with the client, you bring them on board, and then it just becomes murky. They're not participating, they're not taking the actions, they're wanting payment extensions, they're wanting additional reductions in price, and there's always something going on, and you just have to get to a point where you say, look, okay, enough's enough. If you'd like to rejoin the course, you can pay the remaining amount up front, and until that time, services are paused. And it's a hard thing to do, but it is actually a thing in business where you don't realize it, you don't think it's a thing until you have a client or a potential client who is just consuming all your time, fighting all your systems, wants an exception for everything, says that they have a super special case, isn't taking the actions, and you're just like, you know what, enough's enough, right? Like, the point here is to learn the process, to replicate it, and to apply it in a unique way for yourself and your own business, like do it or don't do it, you know? So the best thing I've found is that if a student isn't a right fit for you in private classes, then if you know somebody who you think is a good fit, then tell them. And if you don't, then say, you know what, I feel like this might be out of the scope of what I focus on, but I don't want to leave you empty-handed. Would you be okay if I got back to you with some recommendations? That is one of the best things you can say to private yoga students who are reaching out to you and looking for assistance, but may not be in the same space that you're charging economically, or may not be in the same space that you offer from a skill or an approach perspective. Okay, so totally an option there. You know, there's nothing wrong with that, but that's one of the most polite, helpful, professional ways that you can communicate this. So the other option, when you're doing like a sign-up call, right, a qualifying call, a breakthrough call, whatever you're calling them, you know, declining is an option even before you get on the call. You can also listen to the student and their needs, and if you're able to very confidently say that they're not in the economic space where they truly don't have the money. Most people actually do have enough money. What they don't have enough is conviction that you're going to be able to assist them in getting those results, and the belief that they think it's achievable, right? So most of the time when you're in the high ticket space, when people say they don't have the money, what they mean is they don't feel like they believe that this can happen. But there are some circumstances where the student legitimately doesn't. And in that instance, you could use the exact same thing. You can say, look, you know, I think this teacher would be better off helping you. And when you're working in a space, you'll be online and you'll find other people who are doing something in the same space as you, but not necessarily in the same price range as you. And I would personally keep like a few links on hand, just so that you have some referrals. Like go through their systems and say, yeah, we're going to, you know, just like take a look and see where they're at and what they're doing and what they offer. And then keep those links on file so that when a student isn't the right fit financially for you, because if everything else is the right fit but not the finance, trust me, everything else is not the right fit. If they don't have the finance, chances are the mindset isn't there, and that's going to be a huge component. So have some other options that you can share with them, and then that way you don't leave them there with nothing, no referrals, nowhere else to look, and no idea what to do next. All right. Hopefully this helps you out. If you'd like to learn more about how you can set up an automated online yoga business, I want you to click the link down below. There's a link in the description, and I will show you how to take your yoga online, turn it into a profitable automated business to earn passive income, and you can do it from anywhere. I'll see you inside the workshop. Cheers.